Going on, you guys? Today we are going to do a little thing on the cover car. What is the Nova and some information about it, and we're going to take you out for a ride. Plus, the reason why we're doing this is haven't adjusted the valves on this thing in probably 2 or 3 years. So I'm going to take it around the block and then bring it back, and we're going to go through how to adjust a solid flat tappet cam on your old school hot rod. So for some of you guys, this might be informative. For others, hey, what's the cover car? Well, this is what it is. So, 69 Nova. It is an ss396 375 car. It is not a complete numbers matching car. The motor, I believe, is out of a 69 Chevelle or Camaro. It is a correct block. Here, let me show you guys what's going on here. Of course, the air cleaner's off because I ended up checking it, and there's a couple of rocker arms that are just a little loose, so I'm going to go through and get it a heat cycle. But anyways, it is, you know, factory, I believe, what is it, the 292 block? Closed chamber rectangle port heads, you know, it's 11-to-1. The motor was complete. So it's the stock crank, but what I ended up doing on this thing was it's got a set of Wiseco Pro True pistons. It is 11-to-1 compression, set of scat I-beam rods. I went through and just cleaned up the cylinder heads. I mean, just basically took the castings out. No disrespect, but these heads, compared to modern day stuff, they're really not worth getting crazy into. I mean, if this was the only car we had, yeah. So I just cleaned up the castings, gasket matched the intake, didn't do anything crazy on the intake, just gasket match stuff, cleaned up the intake because there was some slack in there. And it's got a full MSD, nothing big, just a 1 7/8 header. Excuse me. It's got a Comp Cams solid flat tappet in it, one of their extreme energy ones. It's 243, 252, or 254. It's been a while since I did this combination. It's around 600 lift. It's got about a 2500 stall converter in it. It's a original, what was it, the 6 clutch. They put extra clutches in the transmission, and we had the tranny gone through, and it's got a little shift kit in it and stuff like that. But it's pretty much a stock rebuilt tranny. 342 gears, and I mean, even on these little polyglass, you know, the thing will still run in the 12s. Full buckets, console, tack gauge car. That is an incorrect wheel. They did not come with a rosewood wheel, but the old man wanted one on there. And then it's got the old little cigarette tack in there. We call it the Marlboro tack. And then, you know, aftermarket deck. Set of Fosgates in the back just to make her some noise for the music. And then it's also got a Pipes full stainless exhaust on it, and I mean, she sounds great. I tell you what, let me fire this thing off for you guys, and then we're going to take her for a ride. Should light off if I can find the key. Like I said, for what it is, that sounds good. Alright, you guys, going out for our little test drive. Well, wouldn't necessarily call it a test drive, we're just warming it up. I'll show you guys what I ended up finding. The power steering pump pulley is loose. I think that's what's causing all the noise. Oh, here, looking up on the dashboard here. But yeah, that's definitely what's causing the noise. But I'm going to go through, whoops, sorry about that. I'm going to go through anyways and readjust valves because I did find some that were a little bit loose. So we're just going to go around the block and get things warm. I don't want to hammer on her too much just because what's going on got a couple of car links on that Hemi for first and second, he ain't gonna get you. But that's the thing, they're just as strong as what that is. So, you know, these were a bad combination, and obviously for what I ended up doing to the motor to this, you know, we're probably in the neighborhood of 475, maybe 500 horse. So at that point, you know, she's gonna run good. And this thing is just an absolute joy to drive. I mean, it just runs and drives good, handles nice. You know, she's got plenty of pickup and pep. This is just, you know, there we go. When you're driving around and having fun in an old hot rod, I mean an old Nova, this is just as good as it gets, you know? You guys can see what I mean by she's just a good driver. You know, when you want to get a little nutty in it and, you know, give her some gas and want to get a little crazy, plenty of power there. There's a reason why these things were, I know I'm going to use the term legendary, but there's a reason why back in the day these things were butt kickers. I mean, they got up and went. Now, this has got a lot more peppin' than what a bone stock one does, but also keep in mind the fact that, you know, this has only got 342s in it. You know, imagine even a stock one with a set of headers and like a 410 gear. You know, back in the day when, you know, a 13-second car was like an 11-second car nowadays. You know, people just didn't quite understand that. You know, and you weren't used to it back then. So this thing was just an absolute animal back then. Plus the fact you're running on a polyglass tire that's like 7 inches wide. You know, I mean, give me a break. Trying to hook up on these things, good luck. You know, I got, you know, respect for guys that are in the fast category, the factory period stock trim stuff. I mean, those guys, they know how to get the polyglasses to hook. Granted, you burn them down to nothing, and, you know, you're using tires that are what would be considered gone, but you're just basically trying to make them a slick. We're not doing that with this car. Alright you guys, so what we're doing is just relashing the valves. It's been probably about 3 years since we've done this. You don't really have to worry so much about, you know, solid lift, flat tappet cams. This isn't a big monster racing camshaft, so we're not too worried about it. So anyways, but it's that time that we got to go through it. So what we're doing is the old man's in the car right now. I'm going to tell him to bump it over. This is how you go through. You're going to do it cylinder by cylinder. So what we're going to do is think open headered. All right, so open exhaust. Open the exhaust valve. As soon as it starts to open, we adjust the intake valve. Then I'm going to have him turn it over until the intake valve goes all the way open, and when it starts to close, I'm going to adjust the exhaust valve. Some think that this is like, oh man, it takes a way more time to do this. It doesn't. If you try to like, well, I'm going to set number one and do this one, this one, this one, you're going to get lost, and this is a surefire way to just work right through it. So we're going to watch this one right here. So go ahead and bump it. Yes, and obviously your coil wire is disconnected. All right, see how she already started moving? So this one's loose. So we're going to check it, and I got a 15 thousandths gauge, and you can see how I can just flop this in there like it's nothing. So we're going to just give it a little twist. And it doesn't take much to get this to start biting. There. That's got some good bite to it. It's not crazy, but it's just got a good pop to it. At that point, that's good enough. We're hot. So now what I'm going to have them do is go ahead and hit it again. Hit it again. Hit it again. Now you can see how this is starting to open itself up. When it just starts to close, we're going to adjust this. So hit it again. Again. Little one. There. Just started moving. Nice and loose. And really bad. So now give it a little turn. Let's give it a try. Now keep in mind with the rockers that we have on this, yeah, we're in. With the rockers that we have on this, these outer edges, these are Comp Cam's roller tipped. And sometimes what will happen is this will actually rub on the sides and not get on the roller bearing. So make sure you're on that roller bearing. If you're just a standard stamped steel original, well, it's pretty straightforward at that point. So now that's a little too tight. So I'm just going to back it off a little bit. And we got some bite. So now you can see this exhaust is already open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go towards the intake. So go ahead and hit it. Again. Little one. Again. Wow, that was really short. Do it again. There we go. Now I can adjust this exhaust. So as long as you remember, open exhaust, close the intake, you can move yourself down the row pretty quick. And don't forget to give them a little shake. Make sure that things are moving around, because it's like, oh, it's stuck, it won't fit. Give it a little shake every once in a while. And you'll be able to sometimes slip it in. See, that went in kind of easy. It's still got some bite, but before it wouldn't do it. It's because I was hitting this outer edge. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to this. So go ahead and hit it. Hit it. Again. Again. There we go. That boy is super loose. So give a little to it. Give a little shake. There we go. Now we're going to move on to this one. Go ahead and hit it. Again. Good. That's good. All right, go ahead and hit it again. 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 Medium one. There we go. We're loose, but nothing's standing out. Like, oh man, I got one cylinder that's really going loose. If you do, especially for a solid flat tappet cam, then those are warning signs. Then you got to start thinking, am I eating up a lifter? You know, obviously like a solid roller, you're not going to eat up a lifter in that sense, because you got literally metal on metal here. And with the modern oils that we all worry about having enough zinc and all that in there, well, that can eat your camshafts up as well. All right, there we go. Now we're on the back two. Go ahead and hit it. Good. one's good. All right, go ahead and hit it. Again. Again. Good. Extension. And I would say, are all done. So you guys can see on that one side, for that portion of it, let's bring you back up here. There we go. So that's the one side on that. And it doesn't take that long to do. So that is how you go through. Now you can do the exact same thing on a hydraulic flat tappet cam. Only difference is, instead of using 15 thousandths or 20 thousandths and all that, you're going to go to 0 where you feel it bottom out and stop. You're going to spin that push rod, or actually you're going to wiggle the push rod up and down. When it stops moving up and down, you're zeroed out. You don't want to spin it because you can spin the lifter. When it's zeroed, then you give it an 1/8 of a turn beyond it. You go through the same way. Valve adjustment on everything. Hydraulic roller, hydraulic flat tappet, solid roll, any camshaft. This is going to be the way that you go through and do your adjustments. It's super simple once you learn it. Open exhaust, close the intake. Open the exhaust, adjust the intake, close the intake, adjust the exhaust. Once you learn that, it's a cakewalk. It's super, super simple. So, anyways, that was the Nova. That was a little quick tip on how to go through and adjust your valves. Hopefully you guys dig it and enjoy it. Right now we're going through on the black car, and the old man's rubbing out the paint job, making it look all nice and pretty. And then we're going to start working on his red car, and we're going to start doing some custom built headers. So we got lots of things to come, you guys. So don't forget to share, don't forget to like, don't forget to hit that subscribe, and don't forget to ring that little bell. And then
till we meet again.
Till we meet again, people. Have a good one.